getting themselves into dangerous situations like an alligator exhibition gone wrong, or someone brave enough or stupid enough to go skinny dipping with sharks. But first, let me give you a reason why not to mess with these ancient reptilian relics. Number 10. Alligator attack. Heroes don't always wear capes. This man, for example, was a hero at this children's party when he decided to leap into action after a woman named Lindsay was caught in the deadly trap with a live gator inside a petting zoo tank. The hero, Donnie Wiseman, was visiting the Scales and Tails petting zoo in West Valley, Utah to attend a 5-year-old girl's birthday party when he went face-to-face with an 8-foot alligator named Darth Gator, who had been less than friendly that afternoon. When Lindsay Bull, the gator's handler, was attempting to feed the animal, the gator had chomped down on her hand and pulled her into its den, attempting the infamous death roll. Donnie went inside the tank to wrestle the gator in an attempt to keep it from doing further damage. Although Wiseman was scared, Bull's demeanor helped calm him, and she asked him to talk to her while they waited for the animal to release her. The gator eventually let go of Lindsay's hand, and she made her way out of the water before she directed Wiseman out of the enclosure too. Both were left unharmed from the situation other than a few bruises and cuts from the bite. Number 9. Harambe. One of the most notorious and tragic zoo stories to emerge in the past few years was of Cincinnati Zoo's Harambe, the silverback gorilla, who made headlines after he was forcefully killed when the zoo had a safety breach inside one of their dens. The event happened on May 28, 2016, when a little boy who was around 3 years old at the time fell into Harambe's pen, raising alarm to those who witnessed the incident. The boy had climbed through the barrier around the gorilla enclosure just before 4 p.m. Saturday when he fell 12 feet into the moat surrounding the exhibit. In the video, we can see Harambe standing by the boy. He went near the scared child gently at first and seemed like he was protecting the child. The gorilla was alarmed by the sudden screaming of onlookers, causing a stressful reaction to an already stressful situation. Harambe dragged the boy around as if he was one of his own, causing viewers to fear for the boy's life if things took a turn for the worse. In their rescue attempt, the zoo's dangerous animal response team had to make the hard decision of shooting the ape to save the boy. The shot ultimately killed Harambe, and the boy was safely taken out of the enclosure. Number 8. White tiger attacks. In this video, a man is seen at the mercy of a white tiger inside India's National Zoological Park. According to reports, the boy was said to have been trying to take a photo of the white tiger when he slipped and fell into the enclosure of the animal. The tiger, which had been near the incident, took a curious interest in the scared youth and came near the man to see his sudden visitor cowering in the den. As soon as the youth fell into the moat, the tiger approached him and silently watched him while the man pleaded for his life. As time passed, the tiger had started to grow more curious and proceeded to paw the man with its arms, causing viewers of the horrific scene to take action by pelting stones at the tiger in an attempt to divert its attention. The series of actions provoked the tiger, causing it to attack the man and maul him by the neck, dragging the poor boy deeper into its den, where it continued to attack until security arrived. Unfortunately, the man couldn't survive the series of attacks and had suffered fatal injuries before zookeepers could have even responded. Number 7. Levan Merritt. Like in the case of Harambe, Levan Merritt was also one of the many children who had fallen into a zoo enclosure and had lived to tell the tale about it. Levan, who was around 5 years old at the time, had taken a trip with his family to view the zoo animals at Jarrell Wildlife Park, Jersey, Channel Islands. Levan, who had seen the gorillas from the ledges, wanted to take a closer look and got a little too close to the edge when he accidentally fell into the gorillas exhibit. Levan had suffered a head fracture and had been knocked unconscious inside the gorilla's den. A silverback gorilla named Jambo had seen Levan in the moat and decided to approach the unconscious boy. Jambo observed the child and gently patted the boy's back before he proceeded to ward off the other gorillas from approaching the injured child. When Levan regained consciousness, he screamed for help, causing Jambo to retreat into the other side of the den. Zookeepers had intervened and had helped the young boy move back up the enclosure before the other gorillas could have started to grow more curious. Number 6. Skinny dipping with sharks. It's amazing what people do for publicity. This video shows exactly that when this man decided it was a good idea to go skinny dipping in a tank full of sharks. The man in the video took off his clothes and dove headfirst into the shark-infested aquarium, where he swam freely through the waters as if he were swimming in a public pool. The sharks who were bobbing up and down the surface made it pretty clear that they noticed the man's sudden appearance in their tank. He was lucky the sharks had no interest in him, so the man came out unscathed. He did, however, get a warning from local security which prompted him to go back to the surface. From what the local news reported, police were called to intervene, but the naked man was long gone before they arrived. Number 5. Aggressive Panda. Gugu is not your typical cuddly panda. In fact, Gugu is the opposite. Though pandas are known for their sweet bear reputations, we often forget that these animals are still bears and can act like one if they think it fits the case. Of the 3 years that Gugu stayed inside the Beijing Zoo, a total of 3 recorded attacks had been made by the animal. The latest incident happened to a man who snuck inside the panda enclosure to retrieve a toy his son had dropped while visiting the panda's exhibit. The man was named Zhang Jiao, and he was mauled on both legs by Gugu after the animal noticed the trespasser. The 110-kilogram panda bit the man's legs and refused to let go until zookeepers pried his jaws open with tools. Gugu had been left unharmed from the situation, but the man was hospitalized and had to undergo major surgery to fix his legs. Number 4. Too drunk to care. When you've had a few too much to drink, you sometimes lose all of your inhibitions, allowing you to do things you wouldn't normally do. But if you're anything like this guy, you probably shouldn't be allowed to drink, ever. This clearly inebriated man entered a bear enclosure at the Warsaw Zoo in Poland with the intention of provoking the bear. Being a former circus bear, it was used to being around people. It fearlessly approached the drunk man who, in a panic, jumped into the moat surrounding the enclosure. The bear followed the man into the water and the two struggled to stay afloat. The bear would have been fine swimming on its own, but the man can be clearly seen trying to drown the bear by pushing its head underwater. Right after the incident, the bear could be seen sitting in the water growling nervously until its keepers came in to look after it. Honestly, I feel sorrier for the bear. The guy should be permanently banned from the zoo, drunk or other on the planet. Find out more next. Number 3. Lunchtime madness. It's never a good idea to jump into a polar bear enclosure at the zoo. Wait, I take that back. It's not a good idea to jump into any animal enclosure, including a polar bear's. Remember, these guys are the largest of all land carnivores. Even experienced handlers don't interact with them willy-nilly, especially during feeding time. But for some unknown reason, this one woman decided it would be a good idea to join the bears while they were dining one eventful day at the Berlin Zoo. Witnesses said that she even looked extremely happy swimming towards the feeding bears. One of the bears didn't find it amusing though, and it bit the woman. It took the combined efforts of 4 zookeepers to distract the bear long enough to allow someone to pull the woman to safety. Luckily for her, she only received minor injuries from the bite. To this day, no one except the woman herself knows the reason why she jumped into the enclosure in the first place. Number 2. Close call. Like I've said before, pandas are not as cuddly as they seem. These animals, though majorly dependent on a bamboo diet, can also alternate their dinner interests to small rodents when food supplies are scarce. Their digestive system is still carnivorous despite their obvious lunch preference, so a little discretion is advised when coming face to face with a panda. This little girl is one of the lucky few who fell into a zoo enclosure and lived to tell the tale. There was no exact reason how the girl ended up falling into the den of the panda, but the reactions of viewers at the deck were enough to raise hairs. This harrowing photo shows a girl stuck in an exhibit reaching up to a zoo worker to lift her back out. People screamed in the clip as they tried to lift her out while a few pandas came up to her. Number 1. A stinging experience. This little girl went a little overboard with the whole petting zoo experience. She had propped herself a bit too close to the ledge in an attempt to touch the stingrays, but was greeted with a face full of water when she accidentally fell into the stingray tank. Fortunately, her parents were right beside her during the event and were able to push her out in an instant before things could have gone messy. A stingray's tail can carry venom in its spines and could pierce a person's skin, causing infections that could lead to nausea, pain, and fainting if left untreated. This little girl didn't suffer any injuries, and hopefully this will teach her to keep her distance next time.